Here we go. World Pool Masters about to get underway.
It doesn't get any better than this. 2 quarterfinals down, 2 to go in the Party Poker World Pool Masters. 2 men have laid down a marker. One, a former champion. Another, a rising star in Europe. But who will join them? 3 Englishmen in the hunt and 1 American. All 4 with the pedigree to make the last 4. There was a big opening statement from Karl. He looked measured and assured in his match with Daniel Corriere, racing into a 5-1 lead. The Italian rallied briefly before the man from Poland closed out the match to win 8-3. In our next match, Nikos Economopoulos continued his impressive Masters campaign with a win over the 2008 champion Alex Pagulayan. In 2 rounds of Masters action, the man from Greece has grown in confidence. Skaversky, his next opponent. Confirmation of our first semi-final. Coming up, the highly anticipated clash between 2 of England's finest, Melling and Boys, followed by our final match of this stage, which sees Mark Gray take on number 2 seed Shane Van Boening. But here in Nottingham, this is the match they've been waiting for. 2 highly respected players, both with impressive CVs, but both chasing a semi-final place. It's Melling against Boys. Chris Melling had a tough first-round encounter with Dennis Orculio, but this quarterfinal with Boys takes it to another level.
Karl's got a great record against me, to be honest. Really good friend. I've known him a long time, and you know, me and him are on, I'd say we're on the same level. Personally, on and off the table, you know, we're characters off the table. We always take the mickey out of each other, we have a laugh and a joke, but he's a great player, and unless you play well, you're not going to beat him. I think he's beat me something like 16-2, something like that. But a lot of the matches have been really close, so it doesn't really reflect it. But the last time I played him, I beat him in the US Open. I'm not here as a team member like the Mosconi Cup or the World Cup of Pool. I'm here to win it on my own. I've got a great following. So there's no reason why I can't win it. Obviously you feel for he's your friend as well as your opponent, but as soon as we get on that table, he's my enemy.
Karl Boys, a recent World Cup winner, was the most impressive first-round victor and now relishes his clash with Melling.
Me and Chris have known each other, 15, 16 years now. I suppose once you shake hands and, you've lagged off, you just, you don't really speak, you just try and win the match really. But I think his strengths are he's got a lot of self-belief and he's a great potter. But I know if things go tight and the table, comes out a bit ugly, that's not really his favourite type of game. So that's what I've always tried to look at really. We've played, I think it's 13 or 14 matches at American and I've got a good record, but obviously this next match is just another pool match. It's, it's another day, so I can't take that for granted. Obviously he's a dangerous opponent, so I've got to play well.
Karl Boys from Lancashire, Chris Melling from Yorkshire. Both have represented England. They've travelled the world together, but today friendship is suspended.
Melling wins the lag, and interesting history between these 2. They've met, estimates, about 14 or 15 times, and Boys dominating this matchup, with Chris Melling only defeating Boys in competition just once.
But as you well know, Ted, if you write off Chris Melling, it's a perilous occupation, that.
Yes, indeed. When he is on his game, he is nothing short of explosive.
Well, no pot on the 1 ball. I suppose you could say, pushing the boat out, a possible 1-9 combination, but it's highly dangerous. Maybe even the 1-9 billiard, but again, extremely risky, too risky.
Actually looking at it. Will he take on the 1-9 combination? He does. And the result is he probably had that figured out, that should he miss, it wouldn't be too much of a penalty.
That was like buying a lottery ticket without having to pay for it. Really looking forward to this match. Both of these two extroverts, two good lads, full of fun. But when they're on the table, they are all business.
Trying to calculate a safety, but he is going to leave it, well, perhaps another combination here. Don't know if that one passes all the way to the corner between the 4 and the 8.
Well, certainly a skim off the one ball to get the snooker in behind 4 and 5 is a possibility.
That's what he's looking at. Remember, you must hit a rail after contact with the object ball. If he didn't hit a rail, that would be a foul and ball in hand. I asked Chris earlier about that record in which Boys has dominated their competitive matchups. He says that most of the matches were very close, 1 or 2 racks. Could have gone either way.
Played that with 1 second left on the time clock. Didn't make contact with the one, so it's ball in hand, and now maybe we're going to see that 1-9 combination from a little earlier.
He gets it the second time. Chris Melling quickly out. 1-0 over good friend Karl Boys. Chris Melling, some people consider him one of the best pure potters in the game of pool. And I have seen him at the top of his game up close. I was at the China Open in 2011 when he obliterated the field, and I have, to this day, Phil, have yet to see a more breathtaking all-around performance than what Chris Melling put in. Because when he's on his game, he will take any shot on, and he plays fast, and he is very intimidating.
Well, a dry break there. In terms of Melling's abilities, you just need to know one thing. He's made multiple 1-4-7 breaks in snooker, and if you can do that, you are extremely skilled with a cue in hand. Not so much of a snooker background for Karl Boys, although his partner, Lynette Horsburgh, was a former World Ladies Champion in snooker. They have a little baby together, Georgie.
Time extension.
Well played from Karl Boys. Boise captured the 2010 World 8-Ball Championship. biggest individual win to date, and that must have been sweet, being having come from an English 8-ball background to win the American version of this game. 8-ball. Gonna watch the scratch.
Widened the angle with side. As it turned out, widened it too much.
So another mistake from Karl Boys. It was a foul in the last rack and a scratch here. Watch how fast Chris Melling plays. He doesn't waste any time, does he, Phil? He's a bit like Tony Drago.
Well, Melling there taking advantage of Karl Boy's mistake. Melling has made a really good start. He might trail substantially in their head-to-head, but in this match, he leads 2-0.
Welcome back to the quarterfinal between Melling and Boys. Chris Melling has taken the opening 2 racks and followed that up in the third. Although the dry break looked to have hindered his progress, the safety play that followed did eventually work to Melling's advantage after Boys scratched. Melling moves into a comfortable 3-0 lead.
Good start for Melling, but he knows the job is by no means done. Needs to press on.
He's having no luck on the break. And yet he's up 3-0.
Isn't it amazing, Ted? 4th rack this, that's his 3rd dry break.
And an open shot at the 1 for Karl Boys. He desperately needs a run out here. Just to calm the nerves. Just get one on the board. Take it one shot at a time. Well, here you go. A 4-9 combination. That'll make him feel a little bit better. Finally, after 4 racks, something goes Karl Boy's way. He's got to control the cue ball. They try to bring it into the middle of the table. Hopefully leave a shot on the next object ball, which would be the 2, because he has sank the 1. Did a good job there, but it doesn't appear that he has an open shot. Not sure if he can see that 2 or how much of it he can see.
Well, he's okay. He can get through. Is there a gap between 2-6 to go to the pocket? I think he can squeeze past the 6. Mind you, with the red 3 ball at the other end of the table. Well, he played the carom. That's why he was down there with his cue, trying to work out what to do. And that's okay. More than okay. 2 in open play. Screw back for the 3. The rack should be his. Far-sighted shot there from Boys.
And that's just the kind of shot that can give you that jolt of confidence and self-belief. And that's the kind of shot that can bring you right back where you were.
Well, that was a technical failure. He moved on it. As they say in snooker, he twitched. You saw the upper body of movement as he played the shot.
Oh no. He has just blown a golden opportunity to stick it to Karl Boys.
And there you might say, well, okay, he missed the 2, but he wouldn't have been on the 3 anyway. But had he potted the 2, it would have been thinner, and the position would have been there.
Good point.
Time extension.
You might want to remember that. Okay, rack 5. Melling given a gift and hands it right back. There's often these moments in pool. There's James Georgiadis, talented Aussie, who took Shane Van Boning to the limit before ultimately falling just short. That is not a good result.
One of those matches so far, Ted, where both players are struggling for any kind of sustained rhythm. I think it's indicative of just how much a victory here would mean to both of them.
Yeah, there's certainly a bit more going on here than just this quarterfinal. It's bragging rights for the local boys, both playing in front of their own supporters.
Time extension.
He might just pot that 7, no? Okay, but he leaves it on. Not an easy shot on the 3.
Well, after failing a test of cueing a little while ago on the 2 ball, Boys has an even tougher examination here.
Passed with flying colors.
The best shot of the match so far. Super. The gap, it would appear, is about to close a little more.
First, you got to make it.
Unforgivable.
That is astonishing. I've seen Karl Boys play a lot of pool. I have never seen him make this many mistakes in one match. He usually plays at an extremely high level, Phil, and he is just not feeling it today. That is a sigh of frustration.
You're right, 6.
And yet, Chris Melling up 4-1 has had 3 dry breaks. What more if he can get a ball or 2 down? Get an open shot. There's the 9 ball. The 9 ball almost went down. And he's got a shot on the 1. So we'll be looking at a 2-9 combo, and it will quickly be 5-1.
(4-2) coming up. You've got to think.
All right.
There it is, just what Karl Boys needed. A nice quick rack to forget about what happened on the 8 ball in the previous one. 4-2.
Welcome back to Nottingham for the World Pool Masters. It's the quarterfinal between Melling and Boys. Melling has led through the early stages. Boys has staged a fight back, but in the 7th rack, the break saw Boys with no shot on the 2. Safety play followed, Boys with the jump shot, but misfortune with position on the 4 allowed his opponent back in and the opportunity to extend his lead once more. In the following rack, the 8th, it was a familiar tale. The break was followed by safety play. Another error from Boys, a jump shot, a little bit of good fortune, and another rack for Melling. Boys in trouble as we join them in the 9th.
Oh, he got lucky to have the 1 kicked in, then got unlucky when the cue ball got kicked in. He's just laughing. What can you do?
Well, looking around the table for positive signs for Melling, there aren't that many. The fact that the 5 and the 9 are pretty welded together, maybe that would be a possible get-out clause.
That's the shot on the 5 there to pay attention to, because it doesn't go in any pocket. So Boise's going to be forced to break that up in order to continue shooting.
Well, he can't complain about a lack of chances, can he? In fairness to him, I think on balance the run of the balls has definitely been against him. But even so, it's not been the performance he would have wished or indeed expected after he played so well to beat Walid Majid from Qatar. Overwhelmed him in round 1.
There's the shot right here. Pocket the 4, break up the 5-9. Nice effort. Now he's looking at the 5-9, but he's coming off the rail, Phil. That's never easy.
A must make.
He got it.
So Karl Boys just keeps sticking in there, and you never know. Well capable of a full-scale comeback at the moment. He is 6-3 down.
Well, exactly. Chris Melling, not exactly lighting the house on fire. So just fortunate to be in the lead because of a few mistakes by Karl Boys. And Chris Melling has just been awful on the break. So, yeah, I think Karl Boys has to feel that he is, hopefully he feels that he's in this match.
I just sense there's a lot of life in it, definitely.
Two balls down, and he'll have a shot on the one. Yeah, he needs a break and run out here.
When it comes to the break in the match, there's no doubt he's been the superior breaker of the two. That's not saying a great amount, in fairness, considering Melling's deficiency in that department.
Wow. He just snookered himself. Another mistake from Karl Boys. It's endless.
Well, it was a twitty shot on the one to the middle. Caught it too thick even though he potted it. And that's why he's short of pace on the cue ball, and that's why he's in self-imposed strife again.
So he'll try to jump right over that issue. Of course, he would prefer not to jump because he needs position on the 4-ball, and that's not going to be easy. That is a terrific shot. If that doesn't give him the spark he needs, nothing will. Look how hard he had to hit that. He could have jumped that off the table. And he was actually able to leave himself position on the pink 4. That's incredible.
When you're at the pinnacle of your chosen sport and you're playing well, that particular sport is easy. The real champions are able to grind things out and do well when things aren't going their way, and that's what Boys is trying to do here. Just turn the tide.
That's a great point, Phil. Things rarely go your way all the time in pool. And being able to grind it out is one of the most valued traits in this sport. The best grinders often find themselves in the winner's circle.
Well, he missed an elementary 8-ball in rack 5. Can't see him missing this one. And that gap is narrowing. It was 6-2 to Chris Melling. Now it's 6-4. And of course, Boys breaks off in rack number 11. He has momentum. 2 questions as rack 11 is about to begin. Can Boys continue the fight back, or will Melling move onto the hill?
And nothing goes down. So he's got a little taste of what Chris has been feeling this whole match. Dry break. And, unfortunately for Karl, a shot on the one for Melling.
After this, the 2 is spotted conventionally. Melling will have to resort to a 3-8 combination.
He's really done a nice job of breaking up that cluster of balls in the corner and potting at the same time. Chris Melling looking good right here. This would put him on the hill, one away from a spot in the semifinals.
He's taken these really well.
Chris Melling, it's not been easy, it's not been pretty, but he finds himself up 7-4.
Here is rack number 12. Will the finishing touch be applied?
This must feel like torture for Chris Melling. The 2 ball was ready to drop, and for some reason it just popped back out. Watch the 2 ball in the corner. Look at that one, almost in. Massive frustration.
Melling's breaks in this match have been drier than the Atacama. And that's the driest desert in the world.
So boys back at the table. And he was left with a nice looking layout. Perhaps in the mind of Chris Melling, he's thinking about their head-to-head record in competitive pool. Boise owning Chris Melling in that respect. They've met 14 times. Karl Boys has won 13 of those. Can Chris Melling get over the hump here?
It's illogical, it's not scientific, but I think Boys have still got a really good shot.
You can bet that Chris Melling is sitting in his chair right now thinking about that record and telling himself, stop thinking about that and stay in the moment. Well, when this 9 goes, that'll be just another seed of doubt in the mind of Chris Melling. 7-5. Boys will break. It's a winner breaks format. Race to 8. Boy, the 9 ball almost went down. 3 balls in. Tough shot on the 3. Yeah, well, that might be a good thing for Chris Melling, Phil, that he won't be required to break again in this match.
Pressure on this 3 ball. Always difficult when you're queuing diagonally away from a side cushion. Tendencies to undercut this kind of shot if you're going to miss it. But Boys overcut it by a distance.
He's not going to be dissatisfied with that leave, though.
He overcut it to such an extent he didn't make contact with the jaws.
Time extension.
He's been doing it all the way through the match, Melling, picking up the pieces. Can he do so for one final time?
Now, is there a slight alleyway for Karl to maneuver? Based on that reaction there, you would have to say there is. What a shot from Karl Boys. Stunning shot.
Wasn't it just? Right into the heart of the pocket. Tell you what, this comeback has got fresh life. So he's playing oddball here, 5-7-9.
Well, if Karl Boys comes back to win this match, Chris Melling, well, he might be thinking he'll never beat Karl Boys again. 7-6 now. 3 in a row for Karl Boys. What a shot right there from Karl Boys, and that opened up the rack. Sometimes you just got to take your chances. You got to be offensive, and that was one of those occasions. Don't play safe. If you want to win, you got to kick down the door.
Are we going hill-hill? We'll soon find out. Boys has the advantage of breaking off in the 14th.
A dry break. However, Chris Melling cannot see the one ball. And I know what Chris is thinking. Okay, he gives me the table with a dry break, but I have nothing to shoot at.
Push out, Karl.
What more can go wrong? So he calls a push out.
Well, has he left with that little nudge right at the end there, a possible 1-3?
And they are exchange laughs and smiles right there. Boys, he's saying, are you trying to tempt me? And Chris saying, maybe. Or more like, well, take it on, pal. Goes for a safe.
Well, I'm just looking at the overhead camera. It looks as though Boys has done a pretty good job there.
Yes, indeed. How will Melling get out of this predicament?
Time extension.
Well, Phil, you see anything? Where does he go with from here?
Well, with his snooker background, obviously there's knowledge of angles there. But making contact with the one is difficult in itself. Making contact and leaving it safe, even more so. Always looked to be a little narrow with that.
Ball in hand.
But cut him some slack, it was a tough one.
So off the push out by Melling. Boys found himself with an opportunity to leave a lockdown safety, and he executed it to perfection. Forces Melling to foul, and now ball in hand. One-six combination. This would be our first Hill-Hill match in this competition. Well, the table has opened up nicely now for Karl boys.
It would, Ted, be the first match to go the distance in this tournament since Wojciech Szewczyk beat Kopenier 8-7 in the first round in 2012. Well over 30 matches have been played in the tournament since then. In fact, closer to 40.
Well, he's not entirely happy with that position, so let's not call a halt to that streak yet. That is, he's going to be forced to play safe now. Or does he go for it?
Time extension.
Well, we saw in the last rack he had an opportunity to play safe, but he chose the very difficult bank shot and he executed it, and that led to the rack. Chooses safe. And a chance for Melling.
It was not quite wide enough to get the cue ball in behind the 5. That was his intention. And boy, had he done so, what an advantage it would have been. So come on, Chris, how's your cueing?
Pretty solid there. Wants it to slow down. Oh. One turn of the ball. Thin cut. He's got to get lucky for position on the 5, and he does.
Boys slaps his thigh. Can't quite believe it. That period of boys' domination over Melling in their head-to-head battles, you would think, is about to end.
Well, Phil, your streak that you've been touting, some 40 matches. We haven't had a Hill-Hill match. Let's add one more. Chris Melling. It wasn't pretty, but he pulls it off, and that's all that matters to him and his friends and family. Chris Melling with an 8-6 victory over Karl boys. He moves in to the semifinals here at the Party Poker World Pool Masters.
I'm just lucky to get over the line, really. I mean, I thought I was the better player in the match. I made less mistakes. At 6-3, the 3 frames he'd won were combinations on the 9. He'd not actually run the rack, he'd made mistakes when he was running out. But you just got to take your chances, and I took more than he did, and that's why I won.
Chris Melling emerges victorious and will now play either Shane Van Boening or Mark Gray. In the other semifinal, Nikos Economopoulos takes on former winner Karl Skaversky. But for the moment, the home crowd can celebrate the first English player into the last 4 of the Party Poker World Pool Masters.